If you had a chance to get a hold of that. I have a couple other administrative announcements before we get started. Through to my left, to your right, there's a hallway, and then there are two restrooms down there for your use, and the doors are open and they are clean. Hopefully at the end of the evening, the doors will work fine and they will still be clean. At the end of the evening, there are 3 sessions, and in between the 2 sessions, we will have a break. And candidates will be around during the break, either before or after, and I encourage you, if you had questions or specific comments for them that you'd like to share with that, please do it at that time. We'd like to know that, let you know that there are a couple hundred people in here. We want to respect our candidates. We're giving them a very brief period of time to respond, basically 60 seconds. Who's our official timer? And so there you go. I promised you somebody would smile at you, and there you're smiling. And I've briefed these 3 candidates. The 3 candidates this evening are willing to volunteer their time and service to our community as members of our school board, and I will get into that in just a second. The other ground rules are, while they're talking or anybody else is talking, we're only giving them 60 seconds. Please give them 100% of your attention for that same 60 seconds. If you're reading a paper, if you're throwing things down, if you have questions, or if you need to get up and leave, please do your best to do that as quietly and as quickly as possible. Any questions before we get started? And again, thanks to the Green Valley Civic Association and the Poway Chamber of Commerce for putting this event together. The air conditioner, I'm told, is on, and we've got doors that are open, providing a cross breeze, and hopefully that will be satisfactory. I'd like to thank everybody in the audience this evening. This is an important event for us to understand the individuals who are here to represent our community. And thank you to the candidates for being here tonight to share your ideas, insights, and opinions, albeit on a very brief period of time. We ask that the audience remain respectful. We've discussed that. And the first election in which the candidates will be elected by the district is this time. And we are in District B. And I was under the question, if you had questions about, if you don't know if you're in District B, go to poway.org and you can search it from there, but not tonight on your phone. Do that from there, please. I'd like to introduce our 3 candidates: Ginger Couvrette, Kim Garnier,
hello,
and Kevin Juza.
Good evening.
And I'm going to be referring to them by their first and last name each time that they have an opportunity. And for our timer, when I say the mic is theirs, that's when the 60 seconds starts. And you'll each have 1 minute for an opening statement in which you will explain why you should be elected and how the public will better be served with you in office. Then we'll ask you at least 3 questions, and maybe 4, time permitting. And you'll have 1 minute to respond for each one. Audience, please write your questions down on any slips of paper. If you still have a request and a desire to submit a question for review at this or the other 3 sessions, raise them up in the air at this time or pass them down to the end, and someone will come by and pick them up. Is that satisfactory, Lynn? Or you can bring them back to the back table. Ginger, we'll start with you and your opening statement. The clock is yours.
23 years ago, John and I moved to Poway. Being raised in an Army family, I moved 9 times before graduating high school in Germany. I am so grateful my children have grown up here in Poway and were given such a strong foundation for their future. First as a high school teacher, then Poway youth soccer and the many sports activities. Proof of my collaborative skills can be witnessed with the turf and lights at PUSD and City Fields. As race director of Jacko Smash, I helped raise $70,000 for the Poway Unified School District Special Needs, and am now the proud owner of a 28-foot trebuchet that my son built to toss pumpkins. As chairman of the Poway Budget Review Committee, I was impressed with the fiscal responsibility of each department in the city as a whole. We need to bring this discipline to our school district and its $400 million budget. Professionally, I have grown my brokerage to handling over $40 million in transactions last year and having a robust property management division. With my leadership skills and countless accomplishments for the community, perfectly positioned me to represent you and our district needs at the board level to ensure increased communication, transparency, and accountability.
Thank you very much. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
Good evening, my name is Kim Garnier. I am a K-12 Poway Unified graduate with 3 children currently attending PUSD. I am the smartest choice to serve on the Board of Education because I am the only candidate up here who has been involved in district-wide issues for years. I am the only candidate to expose criminal theft by former Superintendent John Collins, and I am the only candidate to fight the atrocious $1 billion bond. I'm the only candidate who advocates for military families and special needs families sued by PUSD. I am the only candidate to speak out against sexual predators in our classrooms. I am the only candidate to not seek the union endorsement because students and taxpayers are my first priority. I am the only candidate to run without a party because this is a nonpartisan position and I am here to represent all in Poway Unified. I have the intestinal fortitude to take a stand and protect the good people of this town. I am the intelligent choice because I don't do what is easy or popular. I do what is right and righteous for the future of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Juza, the mic is yours.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to start out Green Valley and Poway Chamber. Thank you for putting this on to give us a voice into our community. I'm running for Poway Unified School District because I have twin daughters going to Twin Peaks, and I got to a chance to really work with kids close. I was a foundation at their elementary school. For 2 years, I worked hard to bring parents into the community to make the school experience for the whole family, and that really brought a lot to the school. We raised over $340,000 for music and art and fixing the track where the kids were falling, things like that that were at the school level that really made a difference to the kids at Turtleback. As the board person, I'll be representing the whole district, so having this experience working with other places makes me a difference. And I am proud to be endorsed by the PSEA and the Teachers Union because I was vetted to really have a true voice for the children of Poway Unified.
Thank you very much. On to question number 1 for all 3 candidates, and then you'll respond in the following order. Kim Garnier, Kevin Juza, and Ginger Couvrette. Since Superintendent Dr. Kim Phelps was hired last year, she has formed a nearly new cabinet. Since she has been quoted as saying this year, the team will be working to embrace innovation and encourage out-of-the-box ideas. Here's your question. How will you contribute to Dr. Kim Phelps' philosophy, and what is your experience in creating synergistic work groups?
That's a great question. So we've had...
The mic is yours.
Oh, thank you. So we have had a lot of transformation at Poway Unified, and we do have a new cabinet. I had the opportunity to sit down with them a couple weeks ago, I think it was, and I was really excited by what they're doing. I think that there's a positivity in the district now that we've cleaned up our house, and the new ideas are really inspiring, and I'm excited about them. But we are heavy at the district level. There's a lot of people at the top, and it's a lot of money being spent on district level employees. And so while I'm inspired by what I'm seeing, I'm also a little bit concerned with how that affects our budget and how much money is going to the district level versus serving our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
This is a great time to be in Poway. I am really excited. We have a brand new superintendent with a brand new cabinet. Both unions, the classified and the teachers, are brand new leadership. So everything from the past, even though I had a lot of conversations with the community about the past, the reality is we're building forward. In my experience, I work together with people, collaborating, bringing in thoughts, and bringing in new ideas to actually reach the next goals. I'm pretty excited about the same meeting that Kim was mentioning. We all were there interacting, listening to what their ideas are, and give them ideas to build things forward. There are a lot of things we can work, and I believe they are in the right direction. And I am really excited about the innovative ways of the school that Dr. Kim brought in was with Dr. Phelps with the Mandarin inclusion school, all Mandarins. That's something new she brought in just 1 year. I think we're going to be a lot of new things coming. Pretty excited to see the changes that are coming.
Thank you very much. On to question 2 for all 3 candidates. So sorry. I was wondering how we were ahead of schedule.
All right, so one thing I did is I went around and talked to all the principals around our specific district, and having lived here for many years, the schools were really left as their own ecosystems. It was really a bottom-up district where the schools were given a lot of autonomy, which is wonderful for culture. You want to be a hawk, you want to be a titan, you want to be a bulldog, whatever. But there's certain things that need to come from the top down, and I think that's one thing that Dr. Phelps is really working on, which I'm very excited about. For example, safety. We need to have a cohesive plan from the top down so all schools are the same and we understand the protocols. Same thing with special needs services. Kids are moved from school to school depending on their appropriate fitness level, and those needs to be consistent as they transition. And then finally with curriculum and homework policies and things like that. So working from the top down, I think she's really built a strong cabinet to really work through these different positions.
Thank you very much. On to question 2. The Design 39 campus, now entering its 5th year, was designed as an adaptive and collaborative learning environment, serving as an opportunity to apply its innovation and innovative learning methods in other schools throughout the district. This raises questions about equality and equity among the district's 39 schools, equity in the curriculum, equity and quality of education, and fundraising, for example. The question is, what specific equity issues in District B have you encountered, and how should they be addressed? First order is Kevin Juza. The mic is yours.
Thank you. Equity is a great question out there in the districts, and where it really comes down to is the families and the schools themselves. Being that as a foundation president, I found that some schools are able to raise a lot of money, which then to fill the gaps that the district wasn't able to fulfill for that school's needs. So I really think it's a time that the district needs to show leadership when it comes to the PTAs and the foundations to really have a cohesive vision of where they should be spending their funds. Because a lot of times those foundations and parent groups just don't know where the right place to put that money, which then puts that school out of whack or where it doesn't really fill the needs of where those kids are. Equitability among all the kids. Every kid should be able to go to any school and feel they're getting the education they need. And those parents need to fully support that they believe that school is for them. Also, being that I was the first candidate to go to all the principals and talk to them, what I also found out is that there's equity issues when it comes to facilities. And there's needs some more work within the
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Our second candidate will be from Ginger Couvrette. The mic is yours.
You know, all our students need to have equal opportunity. You know, what they do with those opportunities are up to the kids, but we need to be able to provide them a consistency across the district. I know that Dr. Phelps is really addressing this. We just opened a whole new technology area at Pomerado, which is great because Chaparral was able to raise the money to do their own thing. So now we're able to try to bring all the different campuses up to the same level. Also, as we're looking at career and technical education, we're looking at really bringing our kids into ambassador roles at the high school level to introduce opportunities so that kids can see what their futures look like at middle school and high school, to get excited about these opportunities. And we're able to transition kids to their interests at the high school level, be it fire safety at Mount Carmel, or agriculture at Poway High School, or ROTC at Westview.
Thank you very much. Kim Garnier, mic is yours.
Equity is my passion, and public education is my passion. And public education is the great equalizer. It's where kids from all different walks of life can come in and have an opportunity to go on to the next stage of their life and be great. Just Design 39 is a fantastic campus, but when we travel around to the different schools throughout Poway Unified, there's certainly not equity. There's not equity in the facilities and technology, and there have been some instances of racism that also makes kids feel that there's not equity. So every issue of equity needs to be addressed in order for us to fix these things. One issue of equity that I really take issue with is the district office was the first to have the money put into it. It's so fancy. I don't know if any of you have seen it. And that was the first to have the best safety measures instilled. Why is it going to the district office instead of our students? Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, if you have questions and you've written them down on our placard, please raise them up, and someone will come around and pick them up at this time. We have one down here in front, and I think that's the only one. If there's anybody else who has a question, you're welcome to write it down or pick up a card in the back, and we'll do the same procedures for session number 2 and session 3. We have other questions over here on the left. Thank you. On to question number 3. Over the last several years, there have been fluctuating revenues and escalating costs, such as employee benefits, which have increased from $76 million in 2015 to $109 this year, and that's an alarming increase of 43% in just 4 years. This results in funding shortfalls year after year. Here is your question. What should the district do to address cost to address cost increases such as employee benefits so they can continue to provide its 36,000 students a world-class education while facing these ongoing funding issues. The order of appearance will be Ginger Couvrette, Jim Garnier, and Kevin Juza. Ginger, the mic is yours.
So we have a couple of really difficult issues. Pensions are supposed to double in the next 5 years. And of course, we're all looking at that bond issue that's happening in year 2031. So it's hard to pass another bond when that's looming. So we have to be very fiscally responsible. My time spent on the City of Poway's Budget Review Committee really gave me a lot of confidence on how to structure a budget and maintain fiscal responsibility. Each department explained very specifically all that they did, all that they need, and they actually would do an example of if they bought a truck, they would start saving for the next truck that they had to buy in 8 years. That's what we need to do at Poway Unified. We can't be taking one-time monies from the state and spending it on reoccurring costs. Though we need to have an infrastructure plan so we know when we're going to help Rancho Bernardo High School, when we're going to hit Garden Road, when we're going to do Chaparral. We need to have a plan and stick to that plan, but most importantly, we have to be fiscally responsible and controlled in our spending.
Thank you. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
What I see over and over again at Poway Unified is mismanagement of funds. Our resources are going heavily to raises, and at some point we have to stop the bleeding. In 2017, the communications department came out and said we may be facing teacher layoffs. That's so silly when we have these warnings ahead of time about our deficits, our multi-million-dollar deficits, and yet we're spending money that we don't have in areas that may not be the best spent. If we are giving teachers raises and then we have to lay them off, and on top of their step and column raise, let me make that clear, we have the warnings, we can foresee what's coming, and yet we're mismanaging the funds. Again, the union is very powerful. They endorse the candidate gives raises. I'm the union for the students. I'm the union for the taxpayers. I will protect the totality of Poway Unified School District because the budget problems, they're not new, and they're not going away unless we make significant change. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
The budget is it's an ongoing issue. One year you have an influx of cash, the next year you're tight. And so the best thing we can do is make sure our reserves are in the right area. And the good news is where the district is going, the reserve balance is getting closer and closer to zero. And that's the right direction with the new CFO we have for Poway Unified. Secondly, the teachers, education is a labor-heavy, intensive industry. And so you have to have, it's teachers that make a difference. It's that you have these great kids. We have awesome kids in Poway that really make us look good on paper. But really what pushes them, it's our teachers in the classroom that makes a difference. We don't want to be competing with the best teachers with other school districts around us. We want to attract them to Poway. Why? To keep our kids growing and building their strengths, trying new things. If you cut the teachers, you're cutting your leaders within the classroom. And we can't do that. We got to invest in what's going to make the best investment in our students, which is their instructor.
Thank you very much. On to question 4. Were there any last questions that would like to be picked up at this time? On to question 4. Question 4 is an introduction to question 4 was that there's a general understanding that we would all love for our kids to grow up and go to Harvard. However, not all of them are college bound. Your question: how can the current curriculum and other activities offered by the district better support all students, including those not college bound? The order of responses will be Kim Garnier, Kevin Juza, then Ginger Couvrette. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
Not every student is college bound, and that's perfectly fine, and we need to address each student's individual needs. We have programs at Poway Unified that are actually really exciting, but a lot of them are pathways to college still. And so where do we help the students and empower the students who aren't going to college? And I would like to see more classes that are offered, not as a stepping stone to college, but as a stepping stone to a trade and a lifestyle, a strong middle class with our students who serve people in those ways. So I think there's a lot of room for growth, and again, this comes from the budget. If we don't have the budget to have these classes available, then these classes won't be available, and we're still going down the road with our CTE classes of college readiness. So I think college is great. I also think being a mechanic is great. A carpenter is great. So let's make sure that thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, mic is yours.
Thank you. The CTEs are programs where help bring in class activities in high school that gives them closer to a career type of a job, like fire safety, like lab techs. These are type of jobs that we currently have in Poway. There are a couple high schools that do have some trade schools in them, but they're not over here. We have, in Poway High, we have the agriculture classes that kind of help with that. But the way to make this work is working within our community and bringing in industries in so they can help us prepare those students for careers, not always college. And looking at that, it takes time to have how do you build grants and find the resources out in our community to really bring in and rebuild our electrical classes, our plumbing classes. So when they leave high school, for those students that have the more hands-on type of learning type of student, they need to have those venues to work at those skills and build that confidence up. So when they step out to apprenticeship out in the real world, they can be prepared.
Thank you. Junior Couvrette, the mic is yours.
So this is my passion. This is what I want to do for 20 years, is to give relevant education matter to our kids, to get them inspired. When kids have success in other areas, it goes into other academic areas. When they show success with auto, they get the essential skills they need to fill out the English paper better. They have reason to do better in school when they know there's a reason for what they're learning. I'm working with Sue Herndon and some of the community members. We have the opportunity to bring about $70,000 to diesel fuel auto from Caterpillar Hawthorne to get our kids on the right pathway to go through scholarships into junior colleges in order to land a $60,000 job and work on power sources in Fiji. We have, our Chamber of Commerce has an education department with Dave Smith, who's excited about job shadowing and internships and jobs, and even putting kids through their own training programs. Again, we have to inspire kids to care and set them up to be successful adults.
Thank you very much. We actually are perfectly on time, and we're going to try to sneak in 3 questions. And the sequence for the responses for the first question will be Kevin Juza, then Ginger Couvrette, and then Kim Garnier. The first question is, and we thank the audience for their participation and giving us this input, and we hope that this is on target for you. What is your opinion regarding the use of technology by children in the primary grades? Should each child have a device? Kevin, the mic is yours.
Technology in the classroom that's where the direction we're going, but you can never not improve or appreciate the textbook. When I was a foundation president, the library at Turtleback was over 35 years old, 25 years old, excuse me. And after fundraising and bringing it in the community, we were able to bring 10 years down that average age of the book in that classroom. Why that's important is because when they read at that level, when they take tests, they can score better and feel more confident about themselves. When you're reading a 25 or 35-year-old book, it doesn't help you prepare for those tests. Technology, I have twin daughters. They've had an iPad since second grade, first grade, when they were introduced into the school where we were at. And they don't abuse it. It's how we use them, how we teach them how to use the technology, is how we as parents got to make sure they don't abuse the technology. And being prepared to use Chromebooks to open up the world of information, I think it's a great thing to learn young.
Thank you very much. Ginger Couvrette.
Going off of what Kevin just said, with technology now, there is a wealth of information out there. There is exciting things that our teachers can use to introduce to our kids. And if trained properly, the teachers can really enhance their curriculum with the use of technology. That said, we need to make sure we're still strengthening our soft skills, so that kids know how to still communicate properly, so that they're able to convey their thoughts and ideas on written paper as well. But technology should be embraced, but the training needs to go along with that.
Thank you very much. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
Something as a K through 12 Poway Unified graduate, I have so much pride in our school district, and I always feel like we're the best. And after meeting with some people who have come in from the outside of their school districts to Poway Unified to hear that we're falling behind in technology in our schools, I was actually insulted. Why aren't we at the forefront of this? Again, goes back to budget. Every student should have a device. My husband and I just got back from Hong Kong with our 3 children. He studies global education. When you compare other educational systems throughout the world to America, specifically Poway, we are behind. We're severely behind. We need to latch on to technology and hit the ground running and go after it full speed, because that's the future. My 6th grade son was coloring nonstop in 6th grade. I'm not really sure where he's going to go with that, but that's not the way of the future, and that's not where the best jobs are. So we need to really embrace technology and allocate funds for that technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
I know. No, it's the next question.
Oh, is that all 3? There you go.
Is that a test?
No. You all passed. Question number 2. And let's get into this so we can hit question number 3 with financial transparency and budget management key topics in this election. What experience do you offer to the school board? And our sequence on question number 2 is Ginger Couvrette, then Kim Garnier, then Kevin. Ginger Couvrette, the mic is yours.
So from my experience, there's 2 main positions I've had. Is one, I've grown a company from just me to having 8 people, or did $40 million in transactions, and just bought an office building in Poway. And we do this by carefully looking at our books and growing very intelligently and not wastefully. I was lucky to sit on the Poway budget committee, which was fascinating because they're able to take $1 million budgets with the same constraints that the school district has regarding safety and staff, and really we're fiscally responsible to plan ahead for the future. One thing that the school district is very lacking is it's not automated. Substitute teachers handwrite worksheet, their time cards. When you apply for a job, it's in triplicate and gets passed around desk to desk. They can't push a button and tell you where their special aid needs are. They don't have those reports possible, and that's the problem that we have.
Thank you very much. For question 3. Oh, no. So sorry.
Don't skip me, please.
I told you, I won't do it.
I think he's doing a good job.
The mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. So my experience, just a little background about me. I was a logistics manager for an international company through Costco. It was an exciting job. There were a lot of balls up in the air all the time, and I got to see how to manage a multi-million-dollar budget. We have a $400 million budget right here at Poway Unified. And Ginger made an excellent point about how behind we are, and everything's by paper still. What a waste that is. The budget, though, it comes down to serving our students and taxpayers first. And when I sit in board meetings, I've sat in board meetings for years, and I've heard the warnings, and then the decisions the board makes are opposite of those warnings. It drives me insane. I don't know how that's possible, and if I'm elected, I will absolutely change that. Let's listen to those warnings. The experts know what they're talking about, and let's not bury their evidence. Let's act on it, okay? Because our students deserve the best.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
I've had a very successful management business career. I worked for H&R Block for 15 years. I managed $40 million budgets, managing 200 locations, 5,000 employees. I actually owned a gym with my wife for 7 years. That's why I'm running right now. But I also was a foundation president for 2 years. We raised $340,000 in 2 years from a very challenging school located within our district. And how I did that was when we spent the money, every dollar went back to the kids. We found out what they needed and what the teachers needed to support those kids. And we made a difference. There is a lot of efficiencies that are wrong here, but I think sometimes you need to go up 10,000 feet and have an open mind of more of a building mentality than a tearing down mentality, and really seeing how you can take something to the next level. Currently, there's over 108 positions currently not filled in our district, which means our special needs students aren't getting the consistent teaching they need. We need to look at how we're actually taking care of our hourly staff that are supporting the classroom.
Thank you very much. Now for question 3. Question 3 for all 3 in the order of sequence will be Kim Garnier, then Kevin Juza, then Ginger Couvrette. Do you support equal funding and access to visual and performing arts programs for all students at all PUSD schools? Kim, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. The performing arts are near and dear to my heart, and I was on the dance team at Rancho Bernardo High School, and that taught me so much about dedication and hard work and showing up at 6:30 a.m. because that was my passion. I don't know that I would have showed up at 6:30 a.m. for a math class, to be honest with you, but dance team kept me in school, kept me engaged, and made me feel that sense of pride in my school. So I know that other kids feel that way. I know that the band kids feel that way, and the graphic designers feel that way. And it's those passions that can make a child or a young adult feel so differently about their academic experience. So when I heard a teacher at Canyon View, I've got 15 seconds, say, we need a raise because we're all the students have. We don't have the music, we don't have the PE equipment, we don't have these things. My God, this is Poway Unified School District. Let's get some musical instruments in those kids' hands. Let's get some balls in those kids' hands and give them the best education. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
This is a passion of mine too. I think you're going to have a consistent answer on this table that we all believe this is a great way for kids to learn holistically with their brain. How they learn with music and art is a way for that brain to really connect what they're learning in math and reading. And so what I see with my daughter currently at Twin Peaks, I've actually brought together and worked with CYT to bring theater in for the school coming in this upcoming winter months. I'm finding ways to roll up sleeves to bring the arts in that when they don't have the funds for it. Did you know that every middle school has a cross-country team with almost 100 kids in each of them? And the coaches are poorly funded. To actually, that's almost 10%, it's like 9.5% of all the students at Twin Peaks is running cross-country. That's how much these students love these activities that really get their energies going. And it's a lifelong experience where they can not be so much in the reading, but they need some place for outlets for their stress and anxiety so they become comfortable and good students.
Thank you. Ginger Couvrette, the mic is yours.
Just a quick side note, my son he coached for Twin Peaks for his senior project for cross country, so love it.
Yeah.
But as far as the arts, obviously that's very important. Anything that inspires the kids. When I taught high school, I always made it a point to coach or do other philanthropic clubs with them, because I want to see kids being successful in one place, because I knew it would convey into other areas. One thing we're noticing with some of the special ed kids is they're actually being pulled out to do their special assessment with their teachers and missing some of those things that they actually enjoy, like their music classes. So we need to make sure that we give kids all access to that. One thing special about our district, which is why I think having someone who's been here and has a good relationship with the city is we have joint use commitments. Our PCPA is completely, well, very much funded by the city of Poway. And that cooperation that we have with the city is very special for our district and important to maintain those positive relationships.
Thank you very much. We are perfectly on time, and we've been given a fourth question. We're going to start with Ginger Couvrette and go straight down the table to Kim Garnier, then Kevin Juza to finish up. Here is the question. How will you ensure that all schools are funded adequately so that schools are no longer or not reliant on their foundations to fund the impact of teachers, technology, field trips, etc.? Ginger Couvrette, the mic is yours.
So for one thing, we need to really take a look at where the money is being spent. One example that Kim said when she was being at the board meeting is you see where some money is not used properly. We spent $45,000 on a grant writer that produced no money. So that's basically $100 for 450 teachers. That's a lot of Kleenex. So when we take things like that and we can reapply it to the students' opportunities, we have to make sure that the money is going where it can be best used. One of our decisions when we did Jacko Smash was not to give our little $70,000 to Special Olympics, but we gave $500 grants to each individual special needs teacher that asked for it, because they could do so much more with that $500 than a large corporation can do. So specific spending, I think we can really give more opportunities.
Thank you very much. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
Something that's always bothered me is seeing how hard the foundations and PTA work when I don't always see that with the budget at the district level. Parents are spending a lot of money in taxes, and then they're also spending a lot of money out of pocket on the schools. And while I think that is one of the things that makes our district so special is parental involvement, we also have to take a step back and look at why so much money is coming from the parents. Teachers are asking for sometimes things. I'm shocked by toilet paper. We're in Poway Unified School District and we need people to bring toilet paper to school. So one of the cases that I've helped a family with recently is there was a student, I have to be brief, but the principal decided the student was so violent he needed to go to a school outside of Poway Unified for $35,000 a year. That was the first step. We got involved. That student has now transferred schools within Poway Unified, is doing extremely well, and when I see the... Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We all want to hear stories, but time is time. And Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
Currently, California is the 45th in percentage of tax dollars coming to the schools in America. We are the 5th largest economy in the globe as California as a state. There tells me there's a little offset there that we're not investing enough in our future, and that's our students and our education system. With that, there's organizations out there, the California School Board Association, that is putting together how to full and fair funding for all schools to get equal care. If we would bring in $2,000, if Poway was paid the same ratio of San Diego, that'd be almost $50,000 per classroom. So there's a lot of, in our community could get together and align together. We could probably do a better job to get more money to our schools and our students. I believe the foundation of PTAs is a way for parents to stay involved in the education and really build our community up. And that's what America is all about, is rolling our sleeves up and getting things done. When something isn't there, we have to put our time and effort in to make it there.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to closing statements. Each candidate is prepared a 60-second closing statement. And we're going to come down the table. Kevin Juza, you'll be going first, followed by Kim Garnier, then Ginger Couvrette. Kevin Juza, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Kevin Juza, and I'd be very proud to earn your vote tonight to be on the school board starting in January. There's a lot of opportunity in our school district. We've been through a lot, and now it's time to really build on the success of our students and our current infrastructure we currently have here in Poway. We're a great school district. We have a lot of great kids and great teachers and great administrators. Everything is, I'm looking at a half-full opportunity in where we're going to take our school district. I've done the work, I spent the time to really learn about the issues, and I have ideas that are going to make us take innovation and take the operations of our schools to provide more resources to the school, to the student level, to the kid level, not all administration. We have to look at how we get resources down to the students. I'd appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Kim Garnier, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for coming tonight and participating in Civics 101. I love this country, and in particular, I love this town. When you vote on November 6th, vote for someone you can trust to protect your tax dollars, your children, and your grandchildren. Vote for someone who has the strength, endurance, passion, and intelligence to protect our community. Vote for me, Kim Garnier, because I am that person, and I will serve you. I will not just serve the Republicans or the Democrats or the unions or the campaign donors. There's a major difference between myself and my opponents. I'm not beholden to any organizations, and I have the freedom to make the best decisions for our school district and our taxpayers. As the wife of a Marine Corps veteran, I too live by the values of honor, courage, and commitment, and I will bring those qualities to the PUSD Board of Education. Thank you again for your time. I am Kim Garnier, and I am here to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ginger Couvrette, the mic is yours.
Let's return to a time when the first thought when you thought of the PUSD board is that we put kids first. A wise man, Mr. Ed Franklin, once said, "Anyone can make promises, but judge a person by their motivations and accomplishments." My extensive participation on countless boards, from softball to the City of Poway's Parks and Rec Committee to National Charity League to Grad Night, I am grateful for these opportunities I've had to work with amazing people to make a difference. My growth from high school science teacher to room parent to local organizations and successful business owner, I have changed along with the needs of my family and my community. Like you, I want PUSD to be its very best and will listen and work collaboratively with you to make this happen. I challenge you to look over my experience and reach out to someone I've worked alongside. Ask them about my work ethic, my intelligence, and my integrity. I have the relationships and connections to make PUSD better faster, and I'm ready to get to work. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Ginger Couvrette, and I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank all the candidates for their ability and willingness to step forward and represent our country, our community, and our school board in District B. Thank you very much. I know this might sound very exact, but we're taking an 8, not an 8.5, an 8-minute break, and then we'll start up with session 2. Thank you very much. Good job, Anthony.
Oh, thank you so much.